Hi everyone and welcome to today's video, which is going to be about mob spawning and simulation distance. And we start today at the top of the world. I'm in a 1.18, I would say, beta test world. As you can see by my Y level, I'm on 320. That's the new build limit. As you can see here, I have a little column up. New build limit for 1.18. So let's get down to the bottom and get started with the video. And this is not going to take too long. Whoop, there we go. Okay, now when it comes to simulation distance and mob spawning, we do little, you see what I've made here. The white blocks represent a 4 simulation or 4 chunks distance. So from the center where you see the little gold colored blocks, it is 4 chunks in every direction. The green that you see is the mob spawning area. So let's quickly go down here. So from the center point over here, mob spawn on 4 chunk simulation between 24 and 44 blocks. Okay, so 4 chunks is 64 blocks. So if you're standing in the center, mobs don't spawn your 24 blocks, which is this inner circle over here. They will only spawn in this gap, the area here in between where the green blocks are. So this is the end of it, end of your 4 chunks, but they only spawn there. It's a bit strange why they would do that, but that's the way that's been set up. Now, when it comes to the mob spawning, if a mob spawns anywhere in here and drifts out further than this, so let's say for instance they spawn there and they wander out to this area, so anywhere in between from block 44 to 64, the mobs despawn. Can be instantly or as soon as they go out of range past this mark, their mobs automatically despawn. And the good thing is obviously they won't spawn below 24 blocks. So if you're setting up mob farms, you need to set it up so if you're AFK or standing in a certain spot from your, let's say your spawning platform for your mobs, it's got to be within this distance. Whether it's a squid farm or a mob spawner, slime farm, whatever the case may be, it has to be in this distance. So you want to AFK, and then your spawn platforms will basically be there. Now with simulation distance 6, it works basically the same. So we go up to 6 chunks out. So the yellow border that you see, that's the 6 chunk simulation. But mob spawn from 24 to 86 blocks. So the 6 chunk simulation is 96, but they despawn between 86 and 96. So this little gap here. So it's the same like on this 4 simulation. This is the despawn area. So they will spawn anywhere from 24 to 86 blocks, where the 4 chunk is 24 to 44 blocks. Now one thing you must remember with mob spawning, if you don't interact with a mob within the first 30 seconds or so from the mob spawning, then you will automatically despawn. But if you're caving and there's a mob spawning and you reach him and you interact with him, then he'll take longer to despawn or unless until you kill him or the mob dies. Now when it comes to the other simulation, 8, 10, 12 and so forth, their mechanics work all the same, exactly the same. So regardless of whether how many chunks it is, 8, 10, 12 chunks, their despawn is 118 blocks. So if we say for instance the 8 chunk was over here, their despawning will be 118 blocks. on all simulation distance. Now, when it comes to mob caps, your general rule is a cap of 70 mobs per player, or if you're on single world. But if you've got two players standing on the same spot, it only uses one cap. If you're playing like on a server and you got one player that's 200 blocks in that direction and one player here, then each player will have its own separate mob cap. Only one thing is it's not very good with Bedrock. Your mob spawning and your mob cap is about, I'll probably say 4 times slower compared to Java. That's why if you look at gunpowder farms where you're lucky to get maybe 6 or 8 stacks of gunpowder after AFKing for a while, where with Java it's about 4 times more than that. Now the other thing is, when it comes to mob spawning and your simulation distance, if you look at the way it's set up, from where you are standing, wherever it is in your AFK or building, whatever the case, you've got a giant bubble around you. So whether it's 4 chunks, 6 chunks or more, that forms a circle around you. Whether you're going up, down, left, right, it doesn't matter. So obviously you need to light up any caves or surfaces, whether you're building over the ocean, whatever the case may be. You're going to make sure you're out of your simulation distance is far enough away from any place for any other mobs to spawn. So for instance, if you're building a squid farm, you need to be at least 4 chunks and more above the ocean so nothing else can spawn near you. Sorry. And if you look at certain things, mobs tend to spawn, or they start spawning, or the game I should say looks for spawning from the highest build limit. So it will start at build limit, which is going to be in 1.18 320 blocks at the moment, and works its way down all the way down to bedrock. But in the case of certain mobs, for instance like slimes, they only spawn from, let's say, 0 to Y40. But with the 1.18 you're going to find slimes spawning below 0. So that means slime farms, for instance, you can build lower in the world and then have more spawning platforms and so forth, all depending on your simulation distance. So let's do a quick recap just to see, because I've had some people ask me about mob spawning and the mechanics and simulation distance. I myself, usually I used to play full simulation distance, so your farms can run and everything around you, but you got better control of smaller simulation distance and things being closer towards you. Realms, for instance, on like with Bedrock, is usually a default of 4 chunks, but I think if I remember correctly, I saw they're going to be increasing that, so that will be good for people playing on servers and things as well. So just to recap, you got 4 chunk, 6 chunk and 8 and above, and your mobs obviously only spawn within a certain area from you. So remember to build your farms within that certain area. So 4 chunk simulation, mobs will spawn 24 to 44 blocks. That is the distance from the player, and they despawn after that. So 4 chunk is 64 blocks, spawn 24 to 44 blocks, and they despawn after 44 blocks. Your 6 chunk, which is 96 blocks, mobs will spawn anywhere from 24 to 86 blocks and then despawn after that. And then your other chunks, 8, 10 and 12 or up, they only spawn 24 to 118 blocks and then despawn. Now you can see with your 8 chunk to your 12 chunk simulation, which is 128, and then 196 blocks for the 12 chunks. So one thing to remember as well, the bigger your simulation distance and the bigger your render distance, the more the game itself has to load. So if you try to keep your distances, your simulation and render distance minimal as possible, your game will also work better. You'll tend to have, actually I think, more mobs spawning and better control over your farms and things like that. So I would maybe suggest try to do that. So let's quickly go to the center here and then give this a quick test. Let me just add some blocks here, a little bit extra. There we go. Okay, let's quickly turn to, wait, let me get a, no, let's leave the night potion. Let me quickly change to midnight and then see. Okay, did I go right now? Okay, I'm going to give chance quickly for mobs to spawn. And one thing as well, of passive mobs, cows, sheep and oats, there you can see, okay, see there the spiders spawned in that area. There, see they're all spawning 24 to 44 blocks. That one is wandered out already. So he should despawn if he goes out of the boundary area. See all the mobs start spawning now. Yeah, they're all starting to move now in certain directions. See, they're all spawning within that area. Yeah, that other spider's despawned. Okay, let's quickly change to daytime. So as you can see here, see, they all spawned in this area. So it'll work the same for the other simulation distance. Well, guys, that's basically it. It's just a quick recap of mob spawning and simulation. I hope this helps some of you decide on which one to use and how to build your farms. So just remember, where mobs spawn, you build your farm in that area away from yourself, and yeah, you'll have a lot of items to collect if everything goes correct. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, give me a like and subscribe, comment, give me ideas or anything else you guys have, suggestions. I welcome any advice, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks guys, and cheers.